Chaos, hey Juan, hey Brittany, hey Law. How is everyone tonight? Thank you for the hosts, Tippy, Brittany, and Law. If you do not know from the little, things that they have, that's Tippy and that's Shatokan. And I think we're good. I think we've all, we've twittered. I still don't understand the candle. I'm just gonna think about that. Thank you, Juan, for the host. I'm now deaf. I made the donation sounds higher for stuff, and now Scorpion tweets me. Anyway, so this month we read Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I'm gonna move that right there so you can see it. And I don't know how I felt about it. If you didn't read the book, you can do ! plot, and it'll give you not only a plot summary, but also themes of the book, so you can cheat, essentially. But it was basically about the 17-year-old main character named Mare Barrow, who, can I say, sounds like a southern person saying Marlboro. Can I have some Mare Barrow? Can I have some Mare Barrow Light? But anyway,
that's her name.
That's her name. What if it's May I Borrow instead? May I borrow that?
We found this cigarette case and decided to name you this.
But all of the characters' names are weird. They kind of sound like they were named by Kanye West, where it's like Bree and Tramry and... But anyway, so basically she is in the poverty-stricken area and red basically means that she's human. She has no magical powers. And then the rich area is run by the Silvers, who do have magical powers, and they're very dictatory in what they do. So she then discovers, after working in the Silver Kingdom, that she does have magical powers. She's part silver and part red, which is inexplicable. She cannot explain it. So then she basically decides to lead a revolt from the inside. And that's the book. I think.
Joins the revolutionaries.
She joins the revolutionaries. There are revolutionaries named the Red. The Red Guard? Am I right?
Oh,
yep.
This is an intricate plot summary you found here.
Yeah, right? It gives you everything. So, that's the brief version. If you want a much longer thing, it's really nice. I found book rags, and I was like, hell yeah. Hey, Nishiki.
A much longer thing, read the book.
Read the book. Don't read the book. Why are you so quiet? I think it was
quiet.
I think it was also because I was talking.
I'm not loud.
# rude. Never mind.
In comparison to myself, you're loud, Tippy.
I know.
Never mind, we'll just be quiet. Enjoy the stream, everybody. Just silence the entire time. Welcome to the book club. Anyway, so what did you guys think of it? Does anybody want to start first, or should I, or...
You can go ahead.
Okay. I didn't really like it. I'm gonna say it. As light summer reading, I think that it's a fine book. If you want something to just read on the beach and not really worry about it too much, I think it's fine. I would definitely pick it. And if you're really into young adult fantasy fiction that's really lighthearted, probably. But overall, I did not care. It annoyed me more than anything else. I found like I was getting physically angry by the main character, predominantly. I did not like Mare Barrow. I think that she's the whiny Princess Diaries. She does things, and it's why are you doing these things? I don't understand. Aveyard does touch on some really interesting themes, like the crushing nature of hope, and the fact that, coming up against these difficult decisions where you have to choose your family or your friends, kind of which side you take. But a lot of the stuff in the book is extremely cliche to me. I've read it a million times.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't really felt like she provided anything new. Plus, I didn't feel like she created a world that she really placed herself in. I couldn't figure out what is the time period. You've got all these they wear medieval garb, they fight in these kind of Roman Colosseum type places, but then they're just regular planes and lifts. What?
Oh, what are you talking about? This was set in the future in North America.
See?
And I'm pretty sure, so I couldn't figure out if the city that was exploded that they were talking about, that they kind of went down to, was Washington, D.C. or New York City. Because it was a little vague, but
okay.
It was definitely in North America.
Okay.
And, she was up in, Northeast.
See,
There we go.
I didn't get that. Like, I didn't get exactly where it was placed, and I knew it was set in the future, but it didn't feel like the future to me. There's nothing really futuristic about it.
Yeah, how did you get that it was set in the future?
Because it talked about how in the past, and then something about, wait, I have to find where, see, I need to get the physical book next month, because I cannot just like flip through this book and find it.
See, I
When
remember
he was-
at the very
he
beginning
talked-
she mentioned something about the past, and it seems like it was set in our time, so it must be taking place in the future. Is that the same bit that you're talking about?
It might be. Mostly, like, I think the biggest part was when she was looking at the map with that guy. What's his name? Cal's uncle.
Oh, Cal's uncle?
Back when she first started seeing him.
Yeah, I
That's what
remember
it's
him. His name starts with a J, and
Julian.
I'm straight. Is it Julian? Yeah, it's Julian.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you're right. You're right. Why are people talking about Twilight? Read Twilight if you want to get really pissed off at a main character. Oh, okay, I get you. I get you. Read Twilight if you just want to be pissed off about anything. About life. About, like, the time you've wasted before you die. Like, anything, really. It works for everything. And I know Chaos read the book, too. Did anybody else read it in the chat? You're a good man, Chaos. But yeah, essentially, like, it's one of those things. I didn't get exactly where it was in time. And it's not necessary to do that, but when you're creating a world particularly like this, I like to kind of be immersed in it. I want to feel like it's real. And this just kind of felt like modern times to a certain extent. And it didn't really grab me and pull me in. I just didn't. It was like, okay, you got this kind of like weird. There were hints of like communist countries mixed with like Roman references. I mean, you had the bread and circus type stuff, which you see a lot. I was just kind of, I don't know. It felt really mediocre to me, but that's fine. What did you think of it, Shatokan? What did you think of it, Chaos?
I thought it was a good story with bad plot holes.
That's a good way.
That's how I felt as I was reading it. If you look over the plot holes, it's a good story to read. But if you're gonna obsess over plot holes in a book you read, then it's not something you'd want to read. How about you, Tippy?
Yeah.
What did you think?
I mean, I liked it, but I liked it like it's not like it broke any new barriers in the, you know, dystopian future.
Actually, she did.
Genre for
That's
me.
how that all started, with him breaking a barrier.
Oh, yeah. But, you know, I felt like the author just kind of like jumped right into the pool of, hey, Hunger Games and Divergent were like super successful. Like, let me jump in there too.
But
So-
it
But let me have
really.
some magic powers in there too. I kind of like the powers, but
Yeah, actually,
You know,
the powers were one of my favorite parts of the book.
Yeah.
actually.
I like the idea of them. It kind of made me feel like Infamous powers or something like that, you know?
Oh,
She probably
yeah.
plays Infamous and read Divergent and was like, I could do this. Like, I could totally do this.
Yeah. It's one of
I
those
don't know.
things.
I
That's a good.
It wasn't like, I don't know. It's not like it was my favorite book ever. I liked it though. I like dystopian future novels though. Like, I just enjoy reading them. You know, it wasn't, I don't know.
Oh no, I totally understand. It's one of those things. As a fun, like, young adult dystopian future novel, it's not bad. I'm just the type of person that I do obsess over plot holes. So,
Yeah, that's my problem as well.
summary: Red Queen equals bless. You didn't like it either, Chaos. That was original. She built an interesting world. Oh yeah, okay. Hey Jess, welcome by the way. Why does Mare go all in so early? How stupid is she? If she's so concerned about her family, why does she repeatedly do things to endanger them and not consider the consequences? Exactly! Like, that kind of bothered me about Mare. Like, I get that she's impulsive, but it seemed like she didn't even consider some of the consequences of things. Also, that whole thing with where Gisa gets her hand broken bothered me. Like, I understand that
Yeah.
there's, like, a romance between Gisa and that one guy that's getting shipped off. Killorn.
But there wasn't, because they, like, Mare was like talking about how like her and Killorn were gonna get together.
Yeah.
I think Like-
for Gisa, it was just a crush, a schoolgirl crush.
And I'm like, would you risk that much for just a crush? Like, it
But,
seems silly.
My major problem was actually the Red Guard in all of this, because they knew they were going against someone that could read minds and that could control people, and yet they all knew each other by face and by first name and everything. So
Yeah, they were
one
not very good.
person, one person's caught, everyone's caught, the whole thing's gone.
Yeah.
That was my major problem with it.
That is true. Like, the Red Guard just feels kind of, I don't know, pieced together. Love interest Mare falls for Cal, the conflicted warrior good guy, but it's forbidden love, plus she's not sure she really likes him. She wants to like Maven, who she thinks is a good guy, but can't get over the broody he was! Maven was Angel! I don't know if anyone's ever watched Angel, but that's what it felt like. Where he's like, I've killed 1 million people, but I can't have sex. I'm gonna brood by this window. It's just like...
No. Maven was Spike.
Oh, yeah. Kind of, where you have that.
Yeah, because Maven was, like, actually evil.
Yeah, that's
and,
true.
Like, just pretended to be not evil.
And it's one of those things,
like... Oh, sorry. Spoiler.
Oh, we're in spoiler territory.
Maven sucks.
We're in spoiler territory now. Welcome. Welcome to spoiler territory. Oh, see you in a little bit, Juan. And yes, Battery, hello. Plot holes, indeed. But it's one of those things where I don't know. I didn't really like either of the guys. There was this weird, like, parallelogram romance going on, and I'm just like, can you not see he's evil? Like, he's evil. That could have been...
She was... One of my problems with it was just that she was like, oh, you know, I'm a pickpocket. I know not to trust anybody. Like, I'm in this castle with the, oh my god, let's be best friends. And let's start this rebellion together. And oh my god, let's make all these decisions and let me share everything with you. Like, no. Like, what? What are you doing?
That's how it felt. Also, okay, maybe you guys can help me with this, right? The first chapter, the italicized portions of the text, seemed to be indicating when she was thinking about what the Silvers were thinking about. Then words just start getting italicized everywhere. It's like, what is that? Like, is it for emphasis? Was it just like, because? What is up with that? I didn't understand what was happening. Which is like, why? Like, here's one on page 98. Interview. And then, interview is not italicized, and then it goes, is a funny way to describe scrambling my brain, and all of that is italicized. Why? Like...
Wait, what? Oh, wait, what? What page is that?
Page 98.
Never mind.
Never mind.
I'm the only one with a physical copy of the book, Jess.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine is not page 98.
Well, you didn't know this, Shatokan.
It's her thinking, I think. It's her inner voice. If it's not italicized when it's during her inner voice, it's going to be an emphasis on that italicized word. So, interview was being emphasized in her thought processes, so she unitalicized it for the emphasis.
Okay, I get that.
That's
so it's like reverse emphasis.
That's like a writing thing.
That made sense, because, oh, hey, Space. And hey, Stephanie, how are you? Welcome. So essentially it was one of those things where I don't know, it felt weird. Like the emphasis that she placed on certain sentences just seemed odd to me. And so I was like, is it actually emphasis? It confused me. And Shatokan doesn't know any of this because that's Shatokan's audiobook corner.
Yep. You should just put that down there.
You thinking poor proofreading, Battery? I don't know. I feel like Tippy's right. The corner of shame. I should place his picture frame by like the corner, like in a corner, and like face the corner and think about what you did.
Just put a little dunce cap on the top of the little box.
But yeah, I don't know. It felt really forced in spots. Like I felt like some of the relationships just didn't work for me. I'm just kind of like, one, I knew that Maven was evil. I was like, okay, let's be realistic. Maven is clearly evil. And then you got Cal, who's just kind of the broody, but not broody, bad, like kind of good guy. I don't know. I don't even know. And then she's going to end up with him. I was like, the romance bothered me. But I was just kind of, it felt forced into the story.
It was like... There was no build up to the romance. It was just kind of like, boom, we're in love. Boom, let's dance together. Boom, let me ask you to betray everything that you've grown up supporting and working for your entire life and really truly believe in for me. And don't be surprised when you say no. Like, I don't know.
Thank you for the follow, Bizman, for the win. But yeah, there were some interesting things. I thought... Like, it's obvious that Aveyard actually considered stuff when she was writing. There were a few moments where, like, I think it's basically when it, Is it Maven or is it Cal? He's standing at the window and he's looking out and he's thinking about what he's going to be doing. Oh, it's Cal. He's looking out the window. And essentially it mentions the fact that the shadows are facing her and he's looking towards the sun, which is kind of fiery. And it was like, okay, I get that because, like, get over here! Behind himself is the shadows, which is Maven, and that kind of, and she believes Maven to be good, so all the good is behind her, and all the future and all the, you know, his warrior side is in front of himself. So I'm like, there were some metaphors. There were obviously some things that she had thought about. But then it's like, well, why didn't you think about this for the rest of the book? Like, where are these interesting metaphors? Where are these interesting things throughout the rest? But I don't know. Thank you for the follow, Stephanie. Welcome. But yeah. Anybody else? No? Just me?
What?
Any other, like, interesting metaphors, things? No? No? Just me.
I don't know. I thought there were some interesting themes. There are always interesting themes in here because they always kind of reflect, like, kind of a hyper reality of what we live in. Like, that's why I like to read them. Like, I like to read these books for the, you know, the author's views on, like, really today. And it's interesting to me to kind of see those, like, mirrored in, like, what could be.
Yeah. That's actually kind of an interesting way to look at it. I actually kind of liked what Chaos said, too, where it's lots of ideas, a bit weak on the execution. Like, she had a lot of ideas, and I think they were really interesting. But, yeah, they were too few and far apart. Definitely, Jess. Like, if I was going to say that where it was like they were too few and far apart, Jess, but then I realized that I was going to have to say Jess, and then I was just going to be weird. I should probably say Jess Blinder when you're in here. But, yeah, actually, so, Barry Giant...
Did Jess Blinder read it, too?
I'm not sure. Did you? I'm so excited. I am so excited that we're doing this right now. I just want to know. I just like book aside. Book aside. Thank you guys for hanging out and talking about books with me. Like I'm like legitimately really hype about this. But anyway, like Barry Giant, Shatokan, you said it was better as an audiobook. Do you think this would be better as an audiobook, or do you think it would just be the same, really?
It'd probably just be the same.
There wasn't any, like, poetic...
It just sounded like the book did. I read some of the book just like I did with Barry Giant. It's just, it sounded, basically, the only difference is it's harder to tell when she's talking to herself and someone else in the audiobook. So I'd actually say reading it's better than listening to the audiobook.
That's definitely interesting. But yeah, it's one of those things. Oh! Yeah, and then, like, there were other metaphors. I actually had one down here where on, like, page 92, Cal lights a flame and then it dissipates, and then that's kind of foreshadowing for their attraction slowly dying, because then he starts to go more warrior mode. So, like, she had things like that scattered throughout, which I really liked. I was like, oh, I'm interested now, and then it kind of just went off.
She tried. She tried!
Can we do book blurbs? Are we allowed to do that? Like, book blurb, Tippy and Jess. She tried.
What?
This is a woman doing her best.
She tried. I'm going to read the second one and the third one, probably. I'm going to read the next few. I want to see how it goes. Like, I find it interesting. You know, I would have to say, like, having read Hunger Games and Divergent and, like, a plethora of other dystopian future novels, this would go near the top of the list for a dystopian future. I've read way worse. Like, not thought out.
True.
Not.
Same.
Yeah.
I've read way better. Like, I would even, like, this, I think I might like this better than I like Divergent.
I was about to say the same thing, because you mentioned books that are worse, and I actually thought Divergent was worse. I quit Divergent for a really long time. Then I had to come back, and I barely got through the first book. This one, I could see myself reading 2 and 3 just to see if she kind of completes an actual legitimate thought. Like...
I think this left a lot of questions, is really where I kind of was.
Oh, yeah, that's true. There's the old unrequited love between Julian and the healer. And I thought that one was actually kind of interesting, but it's not explored as much as I'd like. It's just kind of like it's just kind of an aside. Like, oh, they really liked each other. I'm like, that could have been really, like,
oh, by the way,
sunk your teeth into.
Got her tongue cut out. You know, nothing interesting here. Let's move on.
I thought that was one of the biggest side interactions in the story. one of the best made ones,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
I love Julian. Honestly, he's probably my favorite character. Like, I don't know about
I
you
like-
guys, but
I want to find out more about his backstory. Like, I was
Mhm.
more him. I was pass out. Why do silvers? Yes. See, chaos. That's one of the questions.
yes.
What is the source of these mysterious powers?
Yeah, exactly.
And how does it happen? And why do silvers bleed silver? Also, why do you only get like your father's power? You know what I mean? Like, why do you only
Yeah.
get one power? Why hasn't there been any other powers? You know, where was this was this a purposeful engineering thing for some reason that they did it, or is it just kind of evolution into like silver blood? Or and if it is like, is that why the red bloods are now, kind of, there are some who have this thing, or does it mean that they're just, have silver blood in their past? Like, I don't know. So
Yeah, genetically, I
questions.
was really confused by. And yeah, what was the history of the world post-nuclear civilization? Yeah, the one that's supposedly fake on the rims, but wasn't fake at one time. Like, that would be interesting to see. And I'd like, I agree with you that, like, life is too short to read or try pentologies that don't grab you, but there's a part of me that's like, will she answer these questions? Because if she answered those questions well in the later books, it could almost redeem this one. But I don't know if I
I'm gonna
want
read them.
to.
It'll take like a day to read. They're only like 200 pages long.
Yeah, I'll probably end up actually reading them.
They're so
Okay,
short.
bye,
short.
Stephanie. Thank
Sometime.
you. Have a good night. But yeah, it's almost like I felt like I got verbally bitch slapped by Tippy there. It was just like, they're only a day. What are
What?
you
I'm
doing?
sorry. Like,
What
I
are you
mean,
doing?
if it was like, okay, if it was like Lord of the Rings length and I was like feeling this way about it, then I would be like, nah, I'm not gonna read it. But if it's short, I might as well get my questions answered as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you mean
That's
hi?
like
Well, hello.
most of the plot holes I had with it are easily overlooked if you just want to know the story and what's going on in the long run.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with plot holes. I'd mostly just read it for, I don't know.
Enjoyment.
Yeah. I think this is one of those kind of like, I think you even said it earlier, Tippy, in like one of your streams about the fact that it was kind of like mindless fun. Like you're just kind of, you enjoy it. If you don't overanalyze the book, it's really
It's like
enjoyable.
reality television.
Yeah, really. It's just that. It's just like, some lighthearted.
More interesting and not pretending to be real.
And it doesn't have a single Kardashian in it. Automatic one.
Ooh.
Not like one doesn't pop in at the end.
It
Just,
doesn't
like,
have
picture
people who
of-
are like, hey, do you know the people from the Jersey Shore? Like, no, motherfucker. I
No,
don't.
no Silver's fist pump at any point. Though they are like legitimate bros.
There you go. That's a good analogy. It's a popcorn book.
A popcorn book, yeah. The Wheel of Time
Yeah.
dragged me through dozens of mediocre writing. I haven't actually read The Wheel of Time.
I read
sorry.
like one book in the Wheel of Time, and I couldn't do any more than that. I might have actually, you know what? I might have read like 3. It was a long time ago. I was like, I feel like I need to read more. Like,
I feel like sometimes I'm in like a drunken book haze. Like I think that I've only read a little bit of something, and then I'll go back and I'll be like, "Man, I read a lot of this. Like, what happened? What happened to this book?" I just wake up with books around me, just like, "Huh?" When you wake up with a 10 rated book, and it's actually a 2. Like I didn't read this. Never mind. But yeah, so what was it? Bear in mind, all these powers seem counter to most laws of thermodynamics. Yeah, it was one of those things. It didn't really seem like she did much scientific research on that, but I'm wondering if that's because the world has different laws to it. But then you would have to establish that. Like, you would have to say that it doesn't apply to our normal idea of thermodynamics. Like,
I don't know. I mean, like, and the other thing was that the Silvers manipulate, so they were kind of like airbenders and waterbenders and firebenders, like from the, Avatar series, whereas she was more kind of like an actual mage, where she like actually created electricity, instead of just manipulating the already existing electricity that happened.
See, that's one of the major things that bothered me about her power. Towards the end, she's being suppressed, but if you think of it like a car, if he's suppressing her, like not letting her have any gas, she can still control what she has and put in more because she creates it.
yeah.
If he's keeping her from controlling it, she can still create it and release it uncontrollably from her body. So does he like completely suppress any and all chance of having the power?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like at the end, that he wasn't going to be able to suppress her power. Like that's kind of how I went into that final, like scene, not final scene, but you know that scene where he,
Yeah,
you
the
know,
big
they were
battle at the
suppressing her
end.
power. I was like, he's not going to be able to. Oh wait, yes he is. Like,
It's like that would have been like it would have been easily foreseeable, but it would have been a perfect chance to show that her power comes from inside, and there's no way to suppress what comes from inside of her.
Yeah.
But I don't.
And it would have been like, you could have had some really interesting stuff there with the character kind of growing emotionally as well. I feel like she didn't really grow emotionally. That was the kind of bother. She is put through so much shit in this book. Like, just her taken away from her family, all this stuff, but she doesn't really harden or change. Like, I expected kind of almost like a Heisenberg-style change, where she would either become really bitter and strong, or like...
yeah, there was no growth in this.
Yeah. And there should have been
it-
at least some.
Yeah, I mean, keeping in mind that it's the beginning of a trilogy, I still think there should have been more.
Yeah.
She should have had some more growth in there, or
But,
something.
like, if you guys... I'm not gonna say it's necessarily another book club book, but I would be down to read it and just talk about it and, like, outside.
Yeah.
For sure.
I did not get them because I didn't want to get the plots confused. Because
yeah.
you know how it happens. They start to like run together.
That's what
I'm not
happened
sure
with
what
the
was in
Hunger
there.
Games. Like, people have asked me about the Hunger Games since I've read them, and I'm just they're like one mess. I was like, they
I
were...
read the Hunger Games in like 1 week straight. Like I just like, read them.
I read them in like 3 days, and then I was like, there was that thing. There was, Katniss in them. That's pretty much how I... she was in all of them.
Then they went back to the thing, and then they did it again. And, like,
And then
it
there was a
exactly
Hunger
the same.
Games. And then there was
No,
another
yeah.
Hunger Game.
It's all just one book. For me, the Hunger Games is all just one long book.
It was like, really, you should have just released it as just a giant book that was like that thick. Because that's how
Yeah,
I
no
was
one
going
would
to
have
read
read
it.
it then.
That's true.
Yeah.
You gotta release it in tiny
I
ones.
would have read it, but no one else would have read it. Hardcore readers would have read it.
I was like, I went through Atlas Shrugged. Like, I feel like at this point in my life, I can do anything. Like, that was the test. And, like, Atlas Shrugged, it was, like, that big. And I was like, holy shit, he would have to shrug this off. Look at this. Like, seriously, Rand, can you tone it down a notch? And it was, like, 1-point font. Like, Atlas Shrugged was, like, at least this was, like, large. You could get, like, large type. Just one word on every page for the Hunger Games. The Hunger Games.
You'd spend more time turning pages than reading words.
Yeah.
Oh,
I need
don't-
at least
that's
5
so-
words per page.
See, I don't agree with her viewpoints, but I think Atlas Shrugged is a really, really good book. Like, it's very well written. Okay, so Ayn Rand is batshit crazy, but she writes really good books. I prefer The Fountainhead, though, because it's more about art and less about capitalism. That's the biggest hurdle for me, that there was so little depth to the whole thing. Yeah! Same. It was one of those things I felt like it was really two-dimensional.
Like you don't know if Farley's actually the leader or just the front man for the whole thing.
Yeah, the pretty
never find
face.
out. Yeah. You never find that out.
Because it doesn't
don't
feel like she's a
know.
leader. It does not feel like
but-
she's a leader.
Because if she is the leader, then there's no way that she would have been at that shooting. And if she isn't the leader, then
And see, that's interesting because
Yeah.
it's one of those things. If she's not, I thought the same thing. Why would she be at the shooting where she could possibly get captured or killed because she's a leader? But then I was like, maybe that's an actual character trait where it's one of those things where she's going into battle with them, and that shows that she's part of this group, whereas the Silvers don't necessarily always go into battle, minus Cal.
except you have to wipe that because the queen can read memories. So she's got the whole thing's dead. So
Yeah.
that's the most dangerous thing that the leader
It's
could do.
so stupid. So it's one of those things where it's like you need to expand on that, Aveyard. You need to tell us whether she's extremely stupid or whether she's like
Well, you
but
know what?
brave.
And the other thing about them too is like they brought the whole Red Guard there. It seemed like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they were so remarkably coordinated and also remarkably dumb.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were able to get everyone in, but they still got people caught on the way out.
Yeah.
And not even just one person, like 5 people got
Yeah.
caught.
Yeah.
Like, I just felt like it was kind of like shoddy. Like the
And-
whole Red Guard.
It's
Plot.
not even 5 little minions that
Right?
don't know anything.
It's like
of the
5 main people.
Like, they would be the first ones you would want to get out. Like,
Yeah.
these are the people who know what's going on. Get them out right away.
Exactly.
And let people get caught. But, you know, and I don't know. It just seemed like, yeah, with the whole thing, I don't remember who said that their faces weren't covered. Like, they had no planning, it seemed like, for the fact that the people they were going up against have fucking superpowers. Like,
Right?
like,
The mind
they
reading
can
is
be,
OP.
I also had a problem with Kalorn being there. He had no training at all. He was like a fisherman, and they
Right.
still had him.
And also,
It's
he
like-
gets promoted so quickly. He's almost like the
Mhm.
right-hand man, and it's like, you just joined. Like, what sort
they're
of
like,
club?
come on in. Come on over to this break into the palace in the middle of the thing. You just joined up this morning. Like, come on, let's go.
Like, I'm sorry,
No.
if I walked into a club, if I just okay, let's say you guys just walked in, and I was just like, oh, hey, Chaos, you're vice president now, I would be suspicious. I would worry about the club status. Like, I'd be like, whoa,
I'd be
now.
asking what happened to the last vice president. That's what I'd be asking.
Yeah, but then, you know, and then you find out they have like a whole city or something like that where they're all living, and there's apparently a whole bunch of them or whatever, or maybe potentially, you know, we haven't found out yet because it kind of left it
That's
there. but,
interesting.
like,
At
you
the
have a
end-
whole city there, like,
Yeah.
you know, where people are living. Like, why, if someone joins up, why don't you send them for training instead of just being like, hey, come on this mission with us? Like, it'll be cool. Like, you'll be fine. Like, we're just gonna blow up some people or, you know, kill some people, and it'll be all good. Like, you're good.
That and mixing with her meeting her brother Shade are actually what made me think that what's her name, Farley, is not actually the leader, but just the front man.
Yeah.
She's just the leader of a small group that can get
Mhm.
caught and they won't care.
You know, I was
Right.
thinking the same thing, Jess Blender, about the fact that the war might not be real. I was wondering if it's just something to keep everyone fronted. And also, Chaos had an interesting thing where he talked about the fact she writes for TV and movies. And I'm like, that's kind of what it felt like. I felt like she didn't put a lot of description in that she needed to, and she was repetitious. And that might actually be because of her background in screenwriting, not novel writing. Because this does feel like a first effort. Does anyone know if she wrote any other books before this? I'm trying to find something. Because I was thinking about... I feel like... Oh, there was
I
another...
think it's her debut.
There was an interesting theme, too, about the nature of war being kind of cyclical. How it seems like, you know, one generation goes in and they're fighting the same war that the last generation was. And that was kind of like... But it's not explored, really.
Debut novel. This is her debut novel, so
Yeah,
that
this is
also
her
explains
debut.
a lot. I would be interested to read the rest of them because I feel like she has a potential to be a good.
She was born the 27th of July, 1990. So she's mine and Jess's age.
I'm older than she is. Well, what am I doing with my life there?
Okay, this is one of those books that I find kind of inspiring. And hey, David, in the sense that, like, anybody can go and write a book. Well, anybody who knows people, because it's one of those things, if you look at, like, I don't know if you guys looked at the acknowledgments, but I noticed that she was like, oh, I made friends with this person, I made friends with that person, and then this person told me I should write a book, and I did it. And there it is. And you bought it.
Here it is. Thanks for paying me money.
Good point, Jess. There are other countries that would probably have stepped in after 100 years. Yeah, that's one of those things. It seemed kind of like an interesting idea, but it was like, why is it just... There was one thing where I remember there was a line that said, with the silvers, there is only gray. There is no black and white. But everything that's kind of mentioned in the book is black and white. And it's like, well, where is this moral ambiguity that you're speaking of? Like... Why it's only black and white? It's only reds versus silvers. There's no other people. Like,
But they kind of gave the impression, and once again, see, I feel like a lot of this was like she kind of gave you the impression that there was. So here's how I pictured it in my head. I pictured it as the United States, like, you know, North America in general, that had a war, and then broke up into a bunch of like city-states almost.
kind of
that
like the
were all
Hunger
run
Games.
by silvers. Because remember they said, you know, we can't go west because, you know, they'll, you know, so whatever the name of that country was, they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't go east because the ocean's there, which is why I think it was in the northeast part. We can't go south because it's
Irradiated
radioactive
wasteland.
Yeah.
radioactive zone. And then we can't go north because we can't survive the winter. And then they kind of described, I'm still trying to find the page where she talks about the map, which I've been trying to do the entire time we've been on this call.
Hey,
Which
hey,
is why I will
Stanley.
be getting the physical book, if possible, for next month.
This is the best game you've ever seen. I'm sorry. Actually, I made sure that I put myself in talk shows this time. Because I was like, I'm not playing a game. Like, I should probably not do that. Hey, Cheery, it's okay that you didn't read the book. There's a plot. There's a plot. You can cheat. You didn't even have to tell us. I didn't see that. You read the book. Is a plot real plot or plot like, big tits? When has plot ever been big tits? I'm very confused, Cheery. But I'm interested. I'm interested in what you're saying so I can learn.
I'll enlighten you later, Jess.
You're lying? Okay. I feel like you are. But anyway, I found the thing I was looking for. When Chaos had mentioned the mind powers are OP. So there were a couple things I had trouble with. I feel like I had nothing but trouble. I feel like such a whiner, but you'd almost think I was Mayor Barrow. There were two things I had problems with. One, I didn't like the names of the powers. I thought they were a little too, generic. Just Telkies and, nymphs. But the main thing was, when they're in that training session, and she's thinking about all the stuff that, she's doing with the revolution, everything's few silvers inherit abilities from their mothers, and no one has ever had more than one ability, so my new allegiance to the Scarlet Guard is mine, but there are 3 other whispers in the room. She's only concerned with, the one whisper that's near her, but surely the other whispers might pick that up in a room that's so small with so few people. Because then she later
I
says...
felt like it was a more intentional mind reading, though.
It is intentional, because then it's one of those things where they say that at the party, the queen won't be able to hear everyone because there are so many people around. She'll just kind of hear white noise, essentially. So I was like, I don't understand how the mind reading works. Was that just me?
It could just be you're trying to listen to... Imagine you're walking into a big crowded room. Are you going to be able to understand every single conversation in the room at the same time? It could just be like that. She picks it up, but if she gets too much at the same time, it's like walking into a loud room.
Oh, and I get it now, Cherry. I understand. You're here for the book club, for the articles. I get it. I don't think it was white noise. You don't think it was white noise? I just wonder. Yeah, but I think you're right. I think that it might be, it has to be intentional. It's going to be more difficult with a huge amount of people around her. Mm-hmm. But I was just kind of well, in a group of 7 specials, and you're one of them, and you've got a bunch of other whispers, surely one of them might be oh, hey, I just heard something. Also, if I heard or read anyone can betray anyone one more time during that book, I was going to go to Aveyard's house. I was going to, shit on her lawn.
Did she say it?
I thought we could make a drinking
What'd you
game out
say?
of it. Anyone can betray anyone.
Oh. That was her, quote of the book, though.
I'm surprised it wasn't on the cover. Just, in big
Anyone can
letters.
betray anyone.
It was so many times. I was I feel like for the next one, we should make a drinking game. Just, every time she says it, someone takes a shot. Alcohol poisoning.
Yeah, but it might be a new quote for the next book.
I haven't read Cinder yet. I've been kind of curious about it, but I've also been nervous. Just line up people and have the queen go down the group sequentially. It was end of Red Guard.
Yeah, see, that's what I was
on
thinking.
my
Yeah.
to-read list.
She can only hear 1, maybe 2 at a time. Oh, okay. So it has to be focused. Anyone can betray an ACBA. It's like an ABBA. It's like an ABBA parody group.
Akba.
ACBA. I really liked it. You really liked it? I'm gonna check it out then. Maybe it can be one of the, reading one of the book club books if we don't end up reading it on our own. Drink every time you... I just don't there were lots of little things that kind of bothered me. But there was some stuff where it was fun. I found myself through several chapters just kind of reading and not worrying too much about it. When you stopped worrying, it became more interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm
This is
kind of,
so fun.
I think it'll be exciting if we read. I don't remember what is the next one. Is it Glass Throne? Is the latest one? So I
This
think
is
that
actually on the wiki. It's what someone said about the book. In one of the places that reviewed it. Yeah, I thought it summed it up pretty nicely.
man, I should have had Cassidy Anderson on. I'm gonna have to call her.
Glass sword.
Like, yo, can you pop in at the end? I'm just.
Oh,
Is
and
that?
there's a novella, of course.
Yeah, of course there's a novella. That's perfect.
And there's 2 revealing prequels as well. Jesus. She is milking this. I don't even.
Wait, there's prequels?
There are prequels?
Yes. Okay, so I went to Barnes and Noble. So there's Glass Sword, which is number 2. Red Queen.
Oh my
Queen Song,
god.
which is a 55-page
Welcome back,
prequel
Michi.
novella. Which is The Secret Diary of Queen Corianne,
What the fuck?
Cal's mother.
Yeah, Cal's mother.
Oh! Cool Crown.
Speaking of, real quick, before I forget it again, right? This is why I didn't like Mare. Cal just has to murder his own father, and then she tells him to run, and then she's like, oh, the big oaf wouldn't run. He just had to murder his own dad. Can you give him, like, 5 fucking seconds?
Get over it. Let's go.
Not only that, she was asking him to kill his own dad in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially
Essentially.
what she was doing. And then she's like, oh, man, that sucks. That sucks, bro. Like, I'll buy you a Hallmark card. Can we just move along? Like, can you get over it? I'm like, whoa, lady. Whoa.
Oh, the 3rd one hasn't come out yet.
Oh, so it's coming out? I saw it on Goodreads. It was probably one of those.
2017 is apparently when it's coming out. Next year.
Like the dream girl of 18-year-olds.
Not only that, it's expected to be 4 books long, not 3. At least.
I just completely lost interest in continuing with the series. I'll probably read the second one because it's out and then never look back.
I don't even know now, because I thought it might be fun if we all continue to read them, but it seems like she is just milking this for cash. It doesn't feel like she has a real story. It feels like she's just gonna try and crank them out as much as possible. Yeah, I felt like the second one just came out a couple months ago. But it was one of those things. I think I pretty much covered everything that I had on it. Does anybody else have anything?
I found the passage I was looking
sweet!
for. It's on page 115 of my book, which I don't
I will try.
It's the same as yours. But it is when its map is written in an unknown language. And then she says Harbor Bay, circling area around a Hook Cape, so that's why I thought it might be Massachusetts. There.
Oh, okay.
And then Norta is the northeast, the Stilt is on the Capital River, the river goes to the sea. And then he goes down the river, the Capital River, a few miles north of what looks like the largest city on the map in the entire country of the before world. Right, so this is saying it's still covered in shadow from a war more than 1,000 years ago. So this is 1,000 years after what I would assume would be World War III. So I just thought it was northeast, Massachusetts kind of area, and that's why I wasn't 100% sure if it was Washington, D.C. or New York City. But I kind of felt like it would be answered more later, in the next book.
Yeah, it definitely, I think, I remember the passage that you're talking about. I feel like it was definitely just setting up for something. It tried to kind of locate you and the story and then kind of give you a little background. So who's the protagonist and the antagonist and what is their conflict? That's kind of there's kind of multiple. I mean, you have the protagonist, which is definitely probably Mare, and then you have the antagonist, which is probably the Silver Kingdom, I would say, almost.
I think the antagonist has got to be the Queen.
Yeah.
I think the antagonist is Maven.
But
the Queen.
Maven's being controlled by the Queen, though. Ultimately, he doesn't have a free will. He's doing exactly what she wants him to.
Doing what his mommy says to.
He's a Norman Bates character.
I don't think it's even he's just been brainwashed by her. From childhood.
I just liked Chaos's angry ellipses thing. If they didn't even buy an illustrator to draw a freaking map, I was like, "What's?" I was confused with that. I opened it up and I'm like, "Wait, this is supposed to be a fantasy novel, but there's no drawn map."
Where's the map?
How am I supposed to nerd out? I don't even use maps. I'm never gonna look at this again. But how am I supposed to tell?
You got to sit there and study the map for at least 10 minutes before you even start the book.
I will say maps are far less satisfying on a Nook.
Oh yeah.
They're so it's very unsatisfying to have a fantasy novel with a good map. And not be able to properly look at it.
I was like, I think I started to try and read Outlander, and it had a map at the beginning, and I was like on my Kindle, and I'm like, what? This is not. No, this doesn't feel epic at all. I can't even do this.
You can't flip back to it every time they reference something or somewhere.
No, and then you're kind of like, wait, what do you mean? Like, yeah.
I don't know. It definitely feels like someone's first attempt at a novel. And for a first attempt, it's very good. But I don't think it's good enough to, like, warrant the hype that it had. Also, I heard a bunch of stuff when I was finishing up the book, and I went to Goodreads after I was finished to kind of look at it again. And I saw a bunch of people saying that it's kind of a ripoff of Red Rising. And I haven't read that book, so I don't know. Has anybody else read it?
Isn't that the other book that I floated for this month?
Yeah. I think so. So I was wondering, like, I know you hadn't read it. And I was like, this would be kind of interesting to see now. I really want to check that out, because if it is just a kind of a ripoff. Does Arthur need to call a cartographer? Outlander softcore. I didn't know. Someone had said that I liked Game of Thrones, so I would like Outlander. And I just kind of went, okay. And then it was free, so I got it. Queen and Redguard are both evil. There are probably one or two other puppet. See, that's the thing. I almost feel like you can't really say, like, it's definitely the protagonist is the little lightning girl. It's the little bitchy girl. But then you've got the antagonist, which is this whole, like, mass of people. Things like that.
It's like the whole deal. Anyone can betray anyone. That just
Outlander
means anyone's
is the kind of book you're
Please.
glad you have,
Please never say anyone can betray anyone.
anyone can betray anyone, so that means everyone's the antagonist, of course.
Everyone can betray.
Oh my god. I might have to just cut it at that, because it's just going to be 20 more minutes of them just saying anyone can betray anyone.
Anyone can betray anyone.
Anyone can betray anyone.
So I think that what we learned from this was that nobody can betray anyone, right? I think that's what she said. I don't know.
Everybody can betray them all, Jess. They can all betray them all.
I can betray who I want.
Everybody is nice to everyone else. That was the slogan, I think she said.
They are, so that they can stab him in the back later.
No, they're like that fake nice. Where I would, if I lived in a world like this, I have to say, like, I would die instantly because I have no.
You have no filter.
No prowess, and like I just cannot look at someone in the face and be like, hey, I you're awesome. I'm actually trying to kill you. Like, no. I have no prowess in that. Like,
you have no poker face.
Like, shady and like smile at you while stabbing in your back. No, I can't do that.
No, like I don't have a poker face. People know if I'm gonna try and stab them. Like if I had been talking to Victoria Aveyard and I had been mentioning the anyone can betray anyone stuff, she would have known my feelings. There's no way I could have like looked her in the eyeballs and been like, no, it's a really great line. I liked it a lot.
It's super great. Oh, it was awesome. Like, oh, you should put that in the book more. Like that's how I'm feeling.
I felt like it wasn't in it enough. But no. Susu Studio? Oh my god! Oh my god! No!
Yes.
No, what is happening now? Get it off! Clear the chat. Someone clear it. Stop the video. I will take the window capture off. But anyway, I think does anybody else have anything they want to talk about? Because I feel like overall fun, but I think Cassidy said it best, where it's fun but not that great.
Don't be looking for any like still waters run deep here.
No. Mm-hmm. Don't be thinking you can write a book.
This is like a quick wade in a light in a shallow pool.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. So now that we've gotten done with book club number 2, I'm so hyped. So if you'd like to
read the second book to see if she does.
I'm gonna buy it right now.
I'm not gonna buy it, but I'm gonna read it.
Like, it's one of those things. I don't know. I might get the second one. I might go ahead and get the second Aveyard, like, right away. Particularly if you guys are gonna read it, then I can read it with you. But anyway, next month's book, starting now, is Kate Atkinson's Life After Life. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you a brief summary so you can see if you would be interested in joining us for this. So what if you could live again and again until you got it right? On a cold and snowy night in 1910, Ursula Todd is born, the third child of a wealthy English banker and his wife. She dies before she can draw her first breath. On that same cold and snowy night, Ursula Todd is born, lets out a lusty wail, and embarks upon a life that will be, to say the least, unusual. For as she grows, she also dies, repeatedly in any number of ways. Ursula's world is in turmoil, and as she faces the unspeakable evil of the greatest war in history, what power and force can one woman exert words over the fate of civilization? So it's war, and it's gonna be about life and living it, and there's an awesome Nietzsche quote at the beginning. I was already hype. I saw Nietzsche and I was done. I was like, take my money. So I'm excited about it, and I hope you can join us. So we're gonna start reading now. And then if everyone's available, I'm hoping that we finish it and maybe like have the book club on the 30th. I'll be back from PAX. And then we can maybe do it like the end of every month.
The 30th, you want to do it? Let me April 30th?
Yeah.
That's a Saturday.
Does that work or no?
Yeah, here, let me clear my schedule real fast.
Yeah, let me put you in right now, though, so I don't schedule anything
My
else there.
schedule's nice and clear for you.
Can you Can you like tell your assistant Shatokan to pencil that in?
So do you want to do it earlier if it's on a Saturday? Because I can do it earlier then.
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right.
I have to let my assistant know.
You'll have to let your assistant know? Well, you can give her my information, and I'll tell her to go fuck herself.
Well, she already pinned it in. I already had her pin it in. Now you're gonna make me change it?
Rude. It was called Butterfly Effect and Groundhog's Day. Well, it does. Kate Atkinson's Life After Light does feature Bill Murray. Just kidding, it doesn't. Not gonna
JK.
lie. I'm not gonna clickbait you. I thought the book had a lot in common with 50 Shades of Grey. Is that just because everything reminds you of that? Oh, yeah, Chaos, sweet. Mind if I dump a list into chat? More like, yeah, go ahead. That sounds great. Do it. I'll take a list.
I'll take a list. I'm going to copy and paste it right now.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
So I was wondering...
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm about to hit that list so hard. I'm going to copy and paste in chat.
I've read all of these.
So anyway...
The host is pretty good, actually.
Let's see what it is. Okay, so Suzanne...
Oh, Ender's Game. This is a good list.
I have never read The
Giver
Golden
is
Compass.
really, I love The Giver.
I love The Giver. Have you read Gathering Blue? I was actually talking to someone about that like earlier today.
I haven't read Gathering Blue.
This was kind of more... You know why I thought this was in the future? Because Gathering Blue is the same dystopian future, but it's a dystopian future that instead of progressing like in The Giver, it regressed into more of an agrarian society. And
Yeah.
it's kind of a parallel book to The Giver, and then they kind of intertwine at the end, and then there's another book after that about a character from Gathering Blue that intertwines The Giver and Gathering Blue even more, and it's really fascinating. That is one of my favorite series. It's not like a series. I don't know. It's
Okay.
really interesting.
I'm going to check
I've
that
actually
out.
been wanting to reread The Giver, and then I was looking through that whole Gathering Blue that you were talking about. I was looking towards it as well.
I like
hadn't...
Blue better than The Giver, and I love The Giver. Like I'm not like The Giver is one of my top books, but I really like Gathering Blue.
I'll have to check out Stray too. Also, Cheery, we should add each other on Goodreads. Full show. Yeah, I didn't like Ender's Game that much. Like, the movie was better than the book, I thought. I don't know, everyone freaks out over Orson Scott Card, but I found Ender's Game to be so boring. There was just something about it that was, I don't know, it dragged on forever. I need to...
The Golden Compass is good, but towards the end, prepare to be depressed, and then where is it?
I'm always depressed, so it would be
The
nothing.
Subtle Knife, and then the
Yeah.
and then the Amber Spyglass. I really like those books too.
Yeah, I like them.
Those are books
I need
that
to
I
read those.
I reread those books. I read the His Dark Materials every few years. I reread The Givers and Gathering Blue every few years. Like those are just like perpetual reads.
Juan's just like, well, not gonna read a single one of these. I haven't.
You can take Aragon out of the list. Like
I've never
the
read
first
Aragon.
book's okay, but as you go on in the series, it just gets worse and worse.
I am gonna have to check some of these out. I have
Apparently,
not.
he was part of a cult as a child.
Really?
Ooh.
Yeah, the writer of Aragon, him and
Well,
his
that was
parents
big
were part of a cult.
He was like a
Really?
big deal because he was like 17 or something when he wrote it.
Yeah, he was like 16 or 17 when he started it.
And everyone was like, "Oh my God, you should totally read this book about this kid." and I was like, eh.
Aragorn
I
isn't
read it.
great. I
No.
tried to read Aragorn. I could not get into it. Guide to the Galaxy, like, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Douglas Adams, it's such a classic. And I have not read Lord of the Rings, but I have The Fellowship of the Ring by my bed, so I'm going to try and read that soon.
I refuse.
I have
to
not read Lord of the Rings. I'm not really big into high fantasy though. Like I find high fantasy really difficult for me to get through.
I
Oh,
find
okay.
how much he describes everything with so much detail to be annoying.
So I started The Fellowship of the Rings. I think it was probably almost a decade ago, and I remember I picked it up and I read there was a hobbit who lived in Hobbitville, and I put it down and I never went back because I was like, I'm not gonna read it if you named the town after just the person. There was a human that lived in Humanville, and I was like, fuck out. I was such an angsty
Like,
teen.
no.
I was
Put
like,
more effort in here.
it was just this is a recreation of that. Fuck this shit. I was done.
Maze Runner was okay. Actually, if you like these kind of books, what was the name of that one? The Knife of Never Letting Go, I think it was called.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That was really good.
That one is really good. I've been wanting to read. Has anybody read Mrs. Peregrine's? Because I've been wanting to read that.
Oh, I read that. I really liked it.
Okay, I'm gonna have to read. It's on.
And I want
It's on my Kindle.
the movie. Well, I'm when I say I want to go see the movie, I want to see the movie. Probably in my own home.
I haven't read Terry Pratchett, but I've always been told that I need to, particularly with the style of humor that I like, and his Discworld series is so popular. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Classics, man. You just bought that?
I've read a lot of these.
I've read a good amount of those. There's one that I've been hearing a lot about. It's called Unwind, I think. It's by, I want to say like Neil Shusterman or something. It's I've heard really good things about it. I've heard it's really dark, but it's good. It's science fiction and kind of dystopian future, which if you like. The Second Civil War was fought over. It's like reproductive rights. And then things. Let me go ahead and pop it in the chat. I heard really good things about this from some friends. Also, it's dystopian future. Tippy, you should read Station 11 if you haven't. I think you would like it. It's really good. It's not young adult, but it's one of those things where it is. This I read recently and I just adored it. It was so well written. It's so cool. She takes a lot of stuff from Shakespeare and she kind of molds it to stuff. It's just amazing. Really, really good. Station 11 is okay. Chaos is at odds with me on that. I really liked it. I thought the characters were well developed. I thought that it was interesting how the threads of the story kind of all combine at the end. I thought it was
I mean, I will read pretty much any dystopian future because, like I said, I really like seeing other people's views on where society is going. I find them really interesting commentaries on society because that's ultimately what they are.
Yeah.
Like, it's really what another person's view of how our world is going to end, like, and why.
And it's one of those things, like Station 11, you have a thing where the main character is basically part of a Shakespearean troupe that travels from one dystopian town to the next because a sickness has wiped out most of the planet. And so it's one of those things where they actually have a line from a Star Trek episode on their caravan that says survival is insufficient. And it's kind of an interesting take on how art can kind of save you. And I love there's like a line something about how hell is the absence of the people you long for. And I'm just like, that book, bro. That book got me in my feel space. Too much seriousness. Where's the comedy books? Oh, goddamn. Comedy books? And we're just killing Just Splendor. You got one? Go for it. What is the next book? Juan. This is for Juan. The next book is Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. So this is what we're going to be reading. I'm going to update the stuff.
I'm just writing down every book that people are posting right now.
It's one of those things where I think we'll probably do this. Actually, you know what? Maybe we'll do this at the end of every like book club where you can just toss recommendations out. Because we ended pretty early, so I'm thinking like if anybody has any more recommendations, they can like throw them in the list. Otherwise, we'll probably just go ahead and call it.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to get more rather than less.
My to be read list is so long at this point, I don't even know.
I just start to ignore it, and I'm just like mine is so long that I'm just like, I'm just gonna go look for another book. Like, reading, like I don't even go back to my to-read list anymore. I'm just like,
comedy. It's kind of weird.
There
comedy.
you go. Job of Comedy of Justice. It's a satire, but I haven't read it in so long, but I remembered that I loved it.
Like, it's kind of a weird comedy.
Yeah, I want to reread it so much.
Yeah, I've been wanting to read
I
this one.
actually thought of putting it in the book club.
Oh my god, there are gonna be so many. I've got so many want to reads every single time. Okay, so this is kind of weird. I'm currently reading this, but if you like the Welcome to Night Vale podcast, this is an amusing book as well. It's very weird though, so bear that in mind. It's Welcome to Night Vale. I'd read that one,
but I was listening to that podcast.
You were? Did you like it?
The same thing. Like, I didn't understand what the fuck was going on. I didn't even get through the first episode. I was like, I don't understand what's going on. Like, I just can't listen to this anymore. Like, what's going on?
We're gonna have to have a podcast club, and I'll just explain that because that's gonna take too long. But
I just want to listen to Good Job Brain. Like, that's what I listen to.
I need to check that out. I need more podcasts. Shatokan sent me a list, and I'm getting close to the end of Night Vale, and I'm gonna hit that. But I got and somebody sent me a thing about Serial, which is supposedly a podcast from the people that made This American Life.
You should listen to Serial.
I need to listen to
listen to the first season of Serial. I haven't decided how I feel about the second season.
I've heard bad things about it, so I've been a little hesitant. It'd be right up your alley. It'd be right up your alley, Shatokan, with the audiobooks. You can have a podcast.
I didn't like Welcome to Night Vale.
He didn't. We don't speak about it.
Well, I just spoke about it, so.
Well, we don't speak about it again. Oh, I just, when he says he doesn't like Welcome to Night Vale, I just think anyone can betray anyone.
Yeah. There you
go. Anyway.
Good Job Brain is the podcast.
Thank you for the follow, whoever followed. I have Goodreads up. KD7EJC, thank you so much for the follow. I'm sorry that I had Goodreads away.
And, what was the other one? Oh, Good Job Brain is where I used to get my trivia of the day when I did that every day.
Oh, okay, cool.
Well, or at least my ideas for trivia of the day. Because it's a little trivia podcast. They're funny.
Sweet. Well, okay, I'm probably going to say, do I have to wear glasses to be in the book club? And hey, Beleaguer. Yes, you have to wear glasses. It's a requirement. I mean, honestly, if I took off my glasses right now, I'd have to leave. I'd have to leave the book club, even though I run it.
I even cleaned my glasses at the beginning of the book club just to make sure I could see.
Aw, that's so nice. Professionalism, guys. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much. This has been amazing. I'm really happy that it worked out. Thank you, everyone who read the book. Thank you, everyone who didn't read the book but stuck in the chat to hang out with us. Thank you, everybody who's new. I hope to see you for the next book, which, just in case you missed it, is Kate Atkinson's Life After Life. So, I will see you all later. Good day.
Yeah.
Hearts and shit.
Bye. See you next month.
Bye-bye.